Driving's different over here. I've probably spoken about that before. We were out today. We went down into one of the bigger towns to look for a bread maker. My bread maker gave up the other day. It was over 15 years old, and I think I'd done quite well with it really, but I don't think the element was working, and I certainly didn't get a good loaf of bread out of it the other day. So I gave in, and I tried to avoid Black Friday, and I tried to avoid what was the next one? Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday. I don't know what Wednesday is. Anyway, today's Wednesday. I ended up having to go back to Amazon to buy one because there was one bread maker, a bit like when I went down for the air fryer, one bread maker in Leclerc, in a make I'd never heard of. Sorry, my alarm was going off to remind me to put the washing machine on. And my washing machine I can put the timer on, but it only goes 9 hours ahead. So I have to wait until later in the day before I can put it on. Anyway, so we didn't buy bread machine down there, and we had some lunch out, which was unplanned. And on our way back, we 3 times had to move over quite a way to avoid people that seemed to think that part of our carriageway was theirs. And I had a few weeks ago coming back up the same road, I had a woman at one point coming towards me. I don't know what the fuck she was doing. I think she may have been on her phone, but my heart was in my mouth. And it seems to me, and I sort of think, am I the common denominator? Is it actually me? The last 2 months when I've been out, a couple of times I've had some near misses, which is really frightening. I had a man, I say man, I couldn't see who was driving. I was coming along. I just pulled out onto the main road in our smaller town, and there's a lay-by outside the tobacco, and a van was pulling into the lay-by, and it wasn't a big van, it was a small van, but the car in front of it was pulling out into my road to do a U-turn in front of me, completely oblivious of the fact that I was on my way through. I sort of managed to avoid him, and then he carried on doing the U-turn behind me. Absolutely ridiculous. And a couple of months back, I thought, have I said this? If I feel like I've said this, I was coming back from the hairdresser and coming across, no, I spoke to Joe about it, coming across, we have about 45 minutes away, no, half an hour away, there's a place called Les Errols, which is one of the largest markets in France. It's once a month. I think it's the 29th of the month, unless it falls on a Sunday or a férié day, and I can't remember when it then happens, but anyway, so there's this quite a large junction. It's in the middle of the countryside, but because it's Les Errols, it's a very big junction that you come across, and I was coming across there as you would normally, 90 kilometres an hour, and a car just pulled out on me. Young chap just pulled out on me. Luckily, there wasn't anything coming the other way, so I managed to get round him. But as I was going round him, I saw him go, like, oh, sorry. And I thought, well, what the driving in France, in many places, with many people, is sometimes so different to that we experience. Definitely in the UK. I don't know what it's like in America. They travel very close together. Now, we in the UK are taught to, something about the 3-second rule. I can't remember, something, the 3-second rule that, you need to be far enough away from the car in front of you. You need to know your stopping time. So if that car comes to a halt really quickly, you need to know you can stop. Well, quite often you're tailgated by cars here. And British people that used to come over with their, used to wonder whether it was because they were British. But, when you're driving a car that's French registered, they're still up your arse. So it isn't that. So quite often you'll see nothing coming, because we don't have a lot of traffic on the road around here. You'll see nothing coming, and then you'll see all 3 cars are coming together like a little caterpillar. So they'd come unstuck if one of them suddenly, came to a halt. They'd come unstuck. Here, I'm talking rurally. I'm assuming in cities, city driving is completely different. But I came across a car the other day. There's cars that you can have here called sans permis, which you can drive if you haven't got a driving license. Now that can apply to someone that's lost their license for drink driving, or it can apply to someone who never had to take a driving test because driving tests weren't a requirement back in maybe it's the 40s, might be a bit later than that. So you get people driving around in a sans permis. Well, sans permis speed-wise is really limited, so you come up behind one of those rather quickly, and you have to go round it because it's slow. But I was following one up the hill out of the village the other day, and was really struck by how much we slowed down. Even though it's limited speed-wise, it was also limited in its torque. It just couldn't climb the hill, so it's a very, very slow journey up there. It always surprises me that these unlicensed vehicles are allowed on the road. I just don't get it. The other thing that I'm much more aware of now, even though the law has changed, and you rarely find a place where there's prioritaire à droite. Back when I used to travel through France with mum and dad in the 60s, you had to be really aware of what was coming from the right-hand side of the main road because they had priority, which is really bloody stupid, but they did. I've never understood that priority to the right, but it still happens here. And I always thought, well, it's older people, it's again people in their 70s and 80s who that's what they grew up with. But if you're in a car park, and when I'm in Leclerc, several times in Leclerc car park, somebody's just come across my bows from the right. And these are young people. These are people younger than I am doing that. I don't understand that. I still see people talking on the phone, the driving's different here. I think that if you've learned to drive in the UK on really busy roads, you learn how to drive really defensively and carefully because you've witnessed so many or learned about so many accidents and things, like driving in fog here. If I were in the UK and I'm driving in fog, and when I'm driving here in fog, because I learned and understood how fog can be deceptive, I'm really careful when it's foggy, but here people just carry on doing speeds and overtaking. I shared something on Facebook yesterday. There are 3 new private enterprise cars about to, are on the road today. It's the 1st of December, who will be tracking the speed of people that have overtaken them and then, flashing that back, and they'll get speeding tickets. So that will be interesting. I shall have to be careful. I'm not, I do drive a bit fast sometimes, I have to get in the car, and depending on who drove it, we have to readjust it each time. For me, I'm short, so I need to adjust it so I can reach the pedals, and sometimes I've got a bit close, and my relaxed position means I'm doing 100k, and I have to watch that. But I think I've slowed down in my old age. I was a lot faster when I was younger. So yeah, it's been, I do worry about that, that I keep coming across people doing really stupid things and, ending up with my heart in my mouth. And I hope it's not that I'm doing something wrong and that it really is them. But we'll find out, won't we? So if one day I disappear off the face of the earth and you never see one of my blogs again, you'll know I got. Anyway, what are you doing for Christmas? I don't like Christmas very much. I never know what I want for Christmas. I know I've got earrings on and I've got the watch and I've got a ring on, but I don't wear jewellery. I don't wear perfume. I don't wear makeup. I'm not really into those sort of things present-wise. So my daughter's just said to me, what do you and Mark want for Christmas? And I've gone, oh God, I don't know. It's difficult enough for us to buy for each other. I still don't know what I want from Mark. He sent me a link to something that he wants, but it's boring military figure model figures again, because that's all he ever is really interested in. And I don't really know. I think one day I might quite like something to do, something extra for the vlogging, like a GoPro or something. But GoPros are 500 odd quid, and I don't need that. I've lost the bloody gimbal, so I don't need a GoPro. But one day, maybe. So anyway, what are you doing for Christmas? I hope that you enjoy Christmas and that it excites you more than it does me. Our decorations won't go up until, what few decorations we put up, they won't go up until the week before. I quite like that they go up and it's nice and Christmassy near Christmas, and then they come down quite quickly. I just, even though I'm not house proud, they just pick up so much dust and everywhere looks really dusty and whatever, and you can't get to anything. So yeah, tell me about your Christmas.